Okay, it's obviously going to be the case, that a firm is going to be interested in its total cost. Yeah, I mean, if you make, if you make, 50,000 cars, you want to know how much that cost you, because otherwise you're not going to know whether you've made a profit. We've already talked about one part of total cost, which is total fixed cost, and here we're going to look at the other part, which is total variable cost. Obviously, total cost is made up of total variable cost on the one hand and total fixed cost on the other. Total fixed cost we looked at a little bit ago, but obviously that's how, so we can say that TC equals TVC, total variable cost, plus total fixed cost. But where does our total variable cost come from? So I'm going to ask you a question, which I'm going to answer. But imagine we take the extra cost of the first unit, the marginal cost of the first unit, and let's suppose that was £8. And we take the marginal cost of the second unit, and let's suppose that was £6 because the firm has increasing returns, the variable factor. Let's suppose the third one is £8 again, it's got diminishing returns, and the fourth one is £10. And let's suppose we add all that up, which comes, as I'm sure you've already worked out, to a mighty 16, 22, £32. What are we going to call that? What should we call that £32? Now, when I asked this in class, everybody wants to call it total marginal cost, and that would be a very, very sensible thing to call it. But we can't have everybody understanding things, so therefore we don't. That is your total extra cost, your total marginal cost. Or, of course, it's your total variable cost, because the cost of each extra unit is the variable cost. Marginal costs are inherently a variable cost. So if you add them all up, then total marginal cost is total variable cost. Those are the same thing. So if you add up, so total variable cost, is all of your marginal costs added up. That's all it is. It's the extra cost of this pen plus the extra cost of this pen plus the extra cost of this pen plus the extra cost of this pen, and so on. That's total variable cost. Fine. So given that, what does it look like? It's based on marginal cost. So what shape are we going to get for a marginal cost curve? Sorry, for a total variable cost curve. So we know that margin. So again, this remains units of stuff now, not workers. That's money, costs in this case. Eventually it's going to be revenue, and we know that marginal cost looks like that. So what does my total variable cost look like? So if you looked at that video that looked at the relationships between marginals and totals, then you'll find this quite easy. The first unit costs £10, so total variable cost goes up by £10. The second unit costs, say, £6. So my total variable cost now goes from 10 to 16. My third one, I'm going to make this a bit sharper. My third one cost me £5. So now my total variable cost for 3 units is 10 plus 6 is 16 plus 5 is 21. But then my fourth unit costs £6. So now my total variable cost is 27. The fifth one is now 10. The sixth one is then 15. The seventh one is now 20. To start with, my total variable cost up until here, it's rising, but it's rising more slowly. It's a bit like that, what was going on with marginal product, but the other way around. So the first unit is relatively expensive. The second one costs a bit less. The third one costs a bit less. The fourth one costs a bit less, but they still cost something. As I said, you don't get to make a pen for nothing. But after this point, each unit costs more than the one before. So it rises, then it rises a bit more, and 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 that is my total variable cost. Up to here, we have increasing returns to the variable factor. Marginal cost is falling. TVC rises more slowly. After this point, we have diminishing returns to the variable factor. So what now happens is that TVC rises more quickly. But you'll see that the key word is rises. If you make more units, it's gonna cost you something. As you make more units, your total costs are gonna go up. It costs more to make 10 cars than it costs to make 9 in total. So my total variable cost curve looks like that. So the last thing that remains for us to do here is then combine the two. Sorry, not combine the two. Combine, we said that total cost is equal to total variable cost plus total fixed cost. So let's now combine them. If you remember from before, so again, that's quantity, that's money. Total fixed cost looks like that. Total, so that's, in our example, that was 8,000 quid. Total variable cost, we've just said, looks like that. Initially it rises more slowly, then it rises more quickly. So what does my total cost look like, which is made up of the two? Well, it's just gonna be total variable cost with total fixed cost added on. We're gonna add £8,000 to that line. So here at output 0, variable costs are 0, fixed costs are 8,000, so therefore my total cost is 8,000. Here, my variable cost, my fixed cost is 8, my variable is about 12, so therefore my total will be 20,000. Because that's 8, that's 12,000, so that's 20. So all we do is we simply say, well, my total cost is simply my total variable cost plus my total fixed cost. And that gap in between the two, that is my total fixed cost. And what that means is that if I just give you a total cost curve, like that, then you know immediately how much the fixed costs are, because they're there. If output is 0 and we still have some costs, that number there, say £10,000 in this one, I know that my fixed costs are £10,000. But I can also infer, so that's my fixed costs. But I can also say, well, look, if I make 20 units and my total cost is £25,000, given that I know my fixed costs are 10,000, I also know that at that output, my total variable cost must be £15,000. So that's my overall total cost curve made up of total variable and total fixed.